center line, being on the line and staying off the line. You'll often hear these terms used in boxing, but what do they actually mean? The center line is a perpendicular line that goes down from the top of the head, straight down through the middle of the body, between the legs to the floor. Why is this line important? Most fighters will track this line as it goes through the center mass of the body when seeking ways of attack, especially in the case of aggressive come-forward fighters. The head and hands can move faster than the torso or hips, so tracking this center mass gives you a focus point and allows you to position yourself in relation to your opponent. It is also paramount to protect this line and not to leave it exposed. Here is an example of working the center line. Fighter A is the red line. Fighter B is the blue line. When the red and the blue line align, that is the center line between the two fighters. Fighter A is an aggressive come-forward fighter. Fighter B has good footwork and understanding of center line dynamics. Fighter A will track the center line to set up his attacks, while Fighter B will come on that line and off the line, using footwork, lateral movement to move side to side. This movement can often cause a guy who focuses in on that center line into mistakes and out of position, and will allow B to create angles and pathways for his own attacks. For example, if A gets too aggressive and focuses too much on that center line, B can step off the line and catch him with a check hook as he comes in. This is a variation on the old school boxing stance and is one employed by modern day great Bernard Hopkins. You will see that the head is off the center line. This will force an opponent who targets that line to constantly make an adjustment when he punches. Also note, due to the angling and tilt of the body, the jab is now brought into play to be the first line of defence for the centre line, and the shoulder can also be brought in to play as a second defensive tool. The positioning of the upper body can make it easier to slip and roll punches. Moving on to the second stance. This stance was used by greats such as Charlie Burley and George Benton, and is a more extreme version of the previous stance, with a real lean over to the side and bending of the knees. Once again, you'll see the head is offline. Burley and Benton had great head movement, slipping outside and inside punches. Also, the opponent would often have to punch down, increasing the difficulty in connecting. Again, due to the angling of the body, backhands would have further to travel, and if thrown, both fighters were adept at rolling under those punches. To utilise this stance effectively, you must have two things: great balance and great footwork. Andre Ward used a version of this stance at times in his two fights with Sergey Kovalev. He would shuffle step into range, lean to his right, take his head offline and jab to Kovalev's body, and exit while keeping his head still off the line. So if you go back and you look at the fights of Floyd Mayweather, Andre Ward, Bernard Hopkins, you'll see that these fighters had a real understanding of center line, its dynamics and its application. Today, the fighter that uses those principles the most, I would have to say, is Vasyl Lomachenko. So sadly today it seems to me a lot of these techniques and principles are being left in the past. And I would say to any up and coming fighter, any fighter in general, have a look. Do any of these stances fit now? Are any of this stuff applicable to your game? You never know. Thank you for watching, and see you again next time.